How can a quiet 13-year-old boy make his tough working-class dad go from this
Hey?
to this? Well, let's just say kids are much more complicated than you think, especially when your son gets suddenly accused of murder. That's right, today we'll be covering the hit Netflix show Adolescence. And if you haven't heard about it, there's no way to prepare you for what an emotional roller coaster this is. Yeah, this dark and controversial show poses the layered question of how can social media affect kids and people today? So, if you clicked here thinking this is just another whodunit story, you're dead wrong. With only 4 episodes, this show quickly became a massive success, getting everything from 6 Emmy Awards to even the attention of England's government, moving forward the UK's Online Safety Act. Crazy, right? Who knew Mr. Netflix had it in him? Raising awareness about the impact of social media, Adolescence covers everything from the dangers of these platforms, toxic masculinity, and how bullying and parenting are just way more complicated now than ever. So, I think it's safe to say we're gonna have a bit of a change of pace from previous videos. So with that, get ready to maybe appreciate your own childhood, and let's dive right in. The first episode opens at dawn of day 1 in this insane murder case, with pro-detective Luke Bascombe listening to his son's voicemail with a stereotypical excuse to skip school again. Bascombe doesn't think much of it, as he discusses it with his kick-ass partner Misha Frank. But they're quickly interrupted by a call on their radio, and suddenly we see a whole line of police cars following the duo, meaning it's going down. They arrive at an average-looking house, busting through the door and telling the thrown-off Miller family to get down. And if you're thinking, this is a pretty intense way to catch somebody, you'd be right, but it's warranted. Trust me. In a bedroom, Bascombe finds our star Jaime Miller waking up terrified as he reads Jamie his rights. Jamie yells that he's innocent, as if that's supposed to calm everyone down, but Bascombe takes Jamie away, leaving the other officers to tear the house apart for evidence.
Excuse me, love, what are you doing?
I'm searching for evidence.
What, that's our dirty washing?
Yeah, the Miller's world is officially before breakfast. After the longest car ride of his life, Jamie and Bascombe arrive at the station, and I gotta give it to the cops for staying pros. They calmly ask Jamie every question under the sun, which eventually leads him to choose his dad as his appropriate adult. This basically means he'll be present through this entire overwhelming process. A pretty tough job, I gotta say. And after kindly offering Jamie some cornflakes, the cops go ahead and put Jamie in an actual prison cell. Yeesh, what did this kid do? As the Millers arrive and are told to sit tight, we officially meet Jamie's family. His newly traumatized sister Lisa, his wrecked mom Manda, and his rough and rugged dad Eddie. It also doesn't take long for our pro-detectives to prepare for their interview, where we find out this murder involves a stabbing. Yeesh. During a quick psychological exam, Jamie finally gets to speak with his dad one-on-one, asking Eddie if he believes he's innocent. But come on, what parent wouldn't believe their kid? Not long after, Jamie is led to take a physical exam, where they take everything from DNA samples to pictures and search Jamie all over. Eddie tries to protect him, but it's no use. God, I can't even imagine what's going through Eddie's head right now. After all that mess, the lawyer finally meets with the father and son, instructing Jamie to say as little as possible or simply no comment. Eddie's clearly going through it, especially since the police seem a little too confident about Jamie being the main suspect. So, Eddie finally asks the dreaded question to Jamie, "Did you do it?" Again, as if it were second nature, Jamie denies, and denies.
Did you do it?
Finally, we get to the official interrogation between the pros and Team Jamie. They cover all the bases: his school reports, his friends Tommy and Ryan, and his creepy but middle school brain Instagram posts of hot models. Yeah, all in front of Jamie's dad. Of course, Jaime keeps up the no-comment routine until Bascom gets serious, segueing to Katie Leonard, the victim. The detectives point out that Katie often left friendly comments on Jaime's posts, but Jaime keeps their possible friendship in the gray area, and without warning, the interrogation gets extremely real as they describe Katie's brutal death. And to top it off, they drop a major bomb on the case: security cam footage. With hard evidence wrecking their mind, the lawyer insists on having a private meeting with Jaime, but Eddie pushes on, saying they've got nothing to hide. After all, his son did confirm that he did nothing wrong. Oh, poor Eddie. After Jaime announces his innocence yet again, the pros show the security footage of Katie and Jaime around the time of her death, where he apparently followed and cornered her in a parking lot. And, get ready for this, they show the video evidence of Jaime stabbing Katie 7 times. Jesus Christ. Since there's no need to say anything else, the pros and the lawyer leave Jaime and his dad in awkward and heartbreaking silence. Eddie can barely look at his own son. Oh, we're off to a great start now, aren't we? In the next episode, things are cooling down as we open on day 3 to find Bascom beside Katie's tribute outside the school. Before going in, he leaves his son a voicemail, saying he won't bother him during his visit. Looks like another rough father-son relationship. And with that, Bascom and Frank head inside, ready to talk to the students. We stumble upon Jaime's famous friends Ryan and Tommy, who clearly know Jaime is guilty, and while Tommy has already been questioned, Ryan is keeping quiet. Suspicious. In the cafeteria, we also officially meet Bascom's son, Adam. As he listens to his father's voicemail, we also meet a non-important blonde kid named Frito, who's clearly been bullying Adam. At least we finally know why he wants to skip school so much. After overhearing teachers complaining about the situation and unstable teens wanting to beat the out of Jaime, God, these kids. We then meet Katie's best friend, Jade, who's had it rough to say the least. The pros talk to her, but she gives them quite an attitude as they dive into Jaime's motives. Jade takes it personally as they question if Katie was ever friends with him, but she quickly shuts that down, making it clear Katie hated Jaime. After giving their first classroom spiel about contacting the police with any new information, the detectives talk about desperately needing Jaime's motive and murder weapon to even charge him with anything. They need answers quick. But in the next class, before Bascom can get a word in, the fire alarm goes off. Classic. With the students lined up outside, Jade catches sight of Ryan, and out of nowhere, she beats the out of him. God damn! After all that drama, Ryan is immediately sent to the nurse, giving Bascom the perfect chance to interrogate him. But as they dive deeper into the details of the case, mainly talking about Katie and the infamous knife,
geography of that knife, you know? But there's still 3 things that we feel you can help us with.
Ryan takes off without warning. Definitely not suspicious at all. Much later, we meet back up with Adam, who desperately wants to talk to his dad. Adam privately tells Bascom he's essentially the case by not getting the context of Katie's passive-aggressive Instagram comments in the first place. Turns out she's implying that Jaime will be a forever virgin and proclaims that he's an incel.
Always will be. That's what they say, you're an incel. You're gonna be, I don't know, a virgin forever, basically. And all those people have heard, which means they're agreeing with her.
And with everyone liking her comments, it seems like the entire school is backing her up. After this enlightening session, Bascom realizes he hasn't even paid attention to his own son's bullying situation earlier. The adults in this show are seriously out of touch with their kids, huh? After all that, Bascom recoups with Frank but is still hung up on Ryan. So he decides to try one last time with a heavier hand, of course. Unfortunately, the guilt gets to the kid as Ryan literally jumps out the window and runs away from the school. Bascom manages to catch up to him, but with this being the last straw, Ryan confesses to giving Jaime the knife, thinking he'd only use it to scare Katie. Clearly didn't think that one through. They end up arresting him on the spot. So you'd think this feels like a win as they can finally charge Jaime, but I honestly can't help feeling even more depressed. Kids committing hate crimes is just depressing. Anyway, after arresting another 13-year-old, Bascom decides to pick up his son from school and have some much-needed quality time with Adam. At least someone is getting a happy ending. And on that note, Eddie's world continues to fall apart as he brings flowers to Katie's tribute, but his story is far from over. In the next episode, we fast forward 7 months later at a children's detention center, where we meet Bryony Ariston, a psychologist hired to evaluate Jamie for the judge. And right off the bat, it's clear she's seen some and can handle pretty much anything. But of course, there's no one like Jamie. She hears from the nosy security guard that Jamie recently had a fight with another kid, so she naturally asks for the report. Meanwhile, the guard casually mentions that this is her 5th visit here, while the previous guy only needed 3 to make a report. She makes it clear she's not there for the speed, she's there to do a good job, and she does such a good job that she even brings Jamie a hot chocolate to the session, hoping she'll get on his good side. With a guard at the door, her official visit with Jamie begins. Weirdly enough, they start the conversation like old pals. She surprises him with a chocolate, plus a homemade cheese and pickle sandwich. She's really trying.
Hot chocolate. Sprinkles. Lots of them. You remembered.
Even though Jamie doesn't really touch it, it all starts out very calm, asking things like, what are your grandparents like? This leads them to the topic of masculinity, his recent fight, and how he views his dad, definitely diving deeper. But this opens a whole can of worms, as Jamie's dad turns out to be a very sensitive subject. Every time she makes even an ounce of progress, he gets defensive and a little too aggressive for a 13-year-old boy. Bryony mentions she's not trying to make him confess, her only job is to understand that he fully understands the charges. And after smoothly steering the conversation, Jamie reveals that his dad is an all-around good guy, always kind and never too judgy. But of course, this didn't stop him from having an occasional bad temper or feeling ashamed of his son from time to time. After a while, Jamie sees an opening to ask if she can get him out of there, but after Bryony is of no help, he goes through an even more aggressive episode, and I mean a hot chocolate throwing and yelling at her face kind of episode.
If you do not sit... Look out! I want to sit down! You do not tell me when to sit down!
Jeez, with these mood swings, what is this kid capable of? After Jamie's episode, Bryony decides to take a breather and watches Jamie through a security camera. This gives her the confidence she needs to re-enter like a boss, getting Jamie to act civil again, and this time she's not playing around. She asks him big questions like his thoughts on women and how his father feels about them. Again, defensive about his dad, but this time he goes even deeper, showing his seriously messed up views on women. I swear, this kid's got layers. So, Jamie mentions that some naked pictures apparently went around his school, and he then reveals that Katie was in fact a victim of all that. Since no one really liked her afterwards, Jamie decided to shoot his shot, thinking she will appreciate it, but it clearly didn't end so well, as she flat out rejected him. She then also started bullying him online, saying that Jamie is a desperate incel. Yikes! After sharing all this, Jamie accidentally reveals that he actually was there that night with Katie, and that he could have killed her right there and then, but he didn't. Damn, this is getting too real. He then finally takes a bite of the sandwich as if he hadn't just dropped a bomb. And after only a few more straightforward questions, Bryony officially has everything she needs, meaning this just became their last session. Hearing that, all of Jamie's emotions get to him, and he goes as far as threatening her to not tell the judge anything. I mean, if we needed another confession, there we go. Jamie then leaves the room, never to see the psychologist again. Bryony can do nothing else but collect her things and pass on her report. Wow, even I need a breather after that. In the next episode, we are 13 months from the start of the show, and we open on Eddie and Manda trying to get their life together. At first, it starts out as a pretty good birthday party for Eddie. That's until he finds a birthday card from Jamie. A bit of a rough spot, but nothing major. Actually, scratch that. Turns out that Eddie's work van was vandalized overnight. Some losers think he deserves it because he's Jamie's dad. Ugh. It doesn't take long for this to become a whole problem, leading to a crazy argument between Eddie and Manda about moving away and starting over, but Eddie just won't let that happen. Meanwhile, Lisa happens to listen to her parents argue endlessly, proving that she also took a pretty big hit from all this. And remember the good old blonde kid? Yeah, he makes another lovely appearance as Eddie tries to wash the van. He's definitely become a prime suspect for all of this. But after Eddie decides soap won't cut it, he drives the whole family to get more supplies. And with positivity back on the horizon, the Millers use it as an opportunity to take the day back. They even plan on going to the movies after.
All right, we'll go to the pictures.
Yeah, I'd do that. If I had to do anything, I'd do that.
Yeah?
Maybe it'll be a good birthday after all. They share a heartwarming moment as they listen to music, sing, and share crazy stories in the car. But things take a turn as they split ways at the store. As Eddie talks to a young worker about paint for his van, this creepy teen turns out to be a big fan of Jaime, shamelessly saying he knows plenty of people willing to support him and get him out of jail. Yeesh. After this terrible yet memorable interaction, the Miller family walks out of the store to find Blonde Kid out in the parking lot. Blinded by rage, Eddie's inches away from beating this kid up, threatening him to stay away from his family. Eddie then dumps his new can of paint on the van, leaving his family in shock. Yup, we're back to square one. During the second longest car ride in the show, Jaime has perfect timing and happens to give Eddie a birthday call. It starts out all innocent until he reveals that after thinking about it for a while, Jaime's decided to officially plead guilty. After a long and awkward moment of silence, Manda and Lisa butt in, trying to change the subject. With Jaime realizing he's on speaker, he cuts the conversation short, giving a quick apology and goodbye to his dad. After that, they make their way inside, heartbroken. Damn, and I thought the other episodes were depressing. Manda then meets Eddie upstairs as he composes himself for the movie, but she has other plans as they process what just happened. Manda realizes that Eddie is the only one carrying his son's burden, as he is the only one who has seen the security cam footage. He's just been denying this whole mess. Manda makes Eddie understand that Jaime changing his plea is for the best, and they regret not truly knowing their son. They never even knew what Jaime was up to on his computer all night. God knows what he saw. At times, Manda compares Eddie to Jaime, making him wonder what he could have done differently. Maybe he could have been more active in his life, but it's unfortunately too late. However, before drowning in their guilt, Lisa breaks up this depressing conversation by reminding them they have to stick together. Who knew she'd step up to the plate? The family then decides to stay in and enjoy the rest of Eddie's birthday. But of course, this doesn't stop Eddie from feeling all of his emotions at once as he enters his son's room, apologizing for not being better. Jeez. Pretty tough watch, not gonna lie, but there you have it, the entire story of Adolescence. This show definitely makes me glad I'm not a kid right now, and honestly, I still can't wrap my head around the whole thing. It's crazy to think a 13-year-old kid could have done all of this, and I know it's not real, but damn, it does happen. I definitely recommend watching an animated movie or taking a shower after this, whatever floats your boat. But hey, if it gets the conversation going about social media affecting kids today, it seems like we're on the right track, especially seeing how the parents have to deal with this too. The world's just too complicated now, huh? But what do you think? Was this just as eye-opening and depressing for you? Make sure to leave a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, we will see you in the next one.